I just began to scream where I couldn't control it. And then the white man got up and began to beat me in my head. I have a blood clot now in the artery to the left eye and a permanent kidney injury on the right side from that beating. These are the things that we go through in the state of Mississippi, just trying to be treated like a human being.
Want me to stand?
Mr. Chairman, my name is Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer, and I live at 626 East Lafayette Street, Rooseville, Mississippi. We want to register to become first-class citizens.
If you had to give a serious moment to a person or an event or a time, obviously the linchpin of the changes in the rules of the Democratic National Convention reside in the testimony of Mrs. Hamer.
Well, Ms. Hamer's position was that if we don't have the right to vote, we can't talk, because she realized that the power was in the political process, in the vote.
We focused there because the Republican Party was just hopeless. And nationally, the Democratic Party had elements that would support civil and equal rights. And again, we wanted to shine a spotlight of the nation on this is what life was like in Mississippi.
I was in jail when Medgar Evers was murdered.
Mrs. Hamer was to talk about herself and people she knew. And she came across with such absolute conviction because it was conviction. It had happened.
Here's this sixth grade scholar, this sharecropper, talking about her conditions and talking about conditions in Mississippi and the American South.
I'm one of 20 children. My mother and father, one marriage, had 6 girls and 14 boys. And I had to start work when I was 6 years old. I'll never forget that. The landowner drove up and asked me, could I pick cotton? And I told him I didn't know, and I really didn't know, so I tried it. I picked 30 pounds that week.
She was a timekeeper. She was the most literate, I would imagine, on a plantation, and the most vocal. But she was still enslaved, in a matter of speaking, because whatever they earned at the end of the year, they couldn't keep it. They were still in debt.
I used to hear her pray, and when she would pray, she would be crying. And I asked her, I said, Mom, why you cry when you pray? She said, well, baby, when you pray to God Almighty, that's where all your strength, that's where it all comes from. If you're not in that household, you can't feel what we was feeling. Nobody can. I seen the hurt from my dad, and I seen the hurt on my mom. It's not a good feeling. When she went to the hospital and they did the surgery, but when she found out what they had did to her, that really hurted her. For this white man to tell this doctor to make sure she don't have kids. And that hurted my mom, to be sterile. How she hated they did her like that. And she would sit up and cry. That was wrong.